So last night at church, my pastor was talking about the Ten Commandments, and he mentioned something that I thought was very interesting. And what he said triggered something else I thought was even more interesting, which was that the first thing, which is what he said, was that Moses, when he comes down from Mount Sinai and he's infuriated at the children of Israel are worshiping the golden calf, he throws down the original Ten Commandments that were written by the finger of God in his anger. And the pastor said that that was symbolic of the fact that humans always are going to break God's laws, and that no one can be good enough, no one is holy enough, that no matter what we do, we're never going to be good enough to be able to always obey God's laws, and, just symbolic of that. We always break God's laws. And that was really good, and I hadn't thought about that before. But coming from that, it made me think of an idea, because as we continue to read on, and how the second time around, God tells Moses, okay, now you have to write it down, since you're the one who broke it. And that made me think about the fact that so many churches, they don't believe that we have God's perfect word preserved to us to this day. Whether or not they believe it's the King James or not, they don't believe that it's anywhere. They don't believe that anywhere to this day we have God's whole, complete, perfect word. And I've always thought that that was interesting. But with that same analogy with Moses and the Ten Commandments, what it made me realize is the fact that the only reason that we know what the Ten Commandments are, and the only reason that we had the Ten Commandments, are because we had a copy. Because the Ten Commandments that Moses threw down, he is the only one who saw them. No, the children of Israel never even got to see the original ones that were written with the finger of God. The only reason that they got to see them, the way that they got passed down, and the way that we know what the Ten Commandments are to this day, are because they were copied by Moses. And so to say that we can't really know that we have God's perfect word to this day because it's a translation, it's a copy, and you always lose something with it. The game of telephone, it's not reliable. So the original manuscripts, those were preserved, those were inspired. But what we have today, it's just as good as we can get it. So unless you believe that the Ten Commandments are not really God's word, and we don't really know what those are, and those are just as good as we can get it, then you shouldn't say that about the entire Bible, because the Ten Commandments are just a copy, just like how what we have today is a copy. And even if you're saying like, oh, well, that was just a first edition copy, that's not what we have today, but still, either God preserves his word or he doesn't. And so either God preserved Moses to write down the Ten Commandments the way that he had written it down first, the correct way. And if he did that, then why wouldn't he preserve us to have his word to now? What's so special about Moses and the children of Israel in the book of Exodus that is not special about us today, about Christians? Why would they get to have God's word and we don't? And so, friend, don't let these people snow you with this original manuscript stuff. We have God's word today. We know what it says. It is perfect, it is whole, and it is here. It is nigh you. And so read it and love it and appreciate it.